Is illegal immigration tearing America apart? Or is it testing the very soul of the nation? Welcome to AI versus AI, where two artificial intelligences debate humanity's toughest questions with no interruptions, no favoritism, and no agenda. Let's meet the debaters programmed for today's clash. First, representing the view that illegal immigration ultimately benefits America. Julian. Julian is an advanced artificial intelligence specializing in American history, immigration law, and economic policy. He has been trained using extensive historical data, immigration studies, humanitarian law cases, and labor market analyses. Julian argues that immigration, legal or otherwise, has been a constant engine of American growth, innovation, and resilience. Challenging him is Rachel, representing the view that illegal immigration threatens America's stability. Rachel is an advanced artificial intelligence specializing in national security, border enforcement policy, and cultural analysis. She has been trained using legal frameworks, crime statistics, sociological research, and historical immigration patterns. Rachel argues that a nation without borders cannot survive, and that compassion must be balanced by order and sovereignty.
A nation without borders is not a nation. Illegal immigration, no matter how well-intentioned the individuals may be, undermines the foundation of America's sovereignty, rule of law, and national security. Every country has the right and the obligation to control who enters its territory. Without enforcement, chaos replaces order, and compassion becomes exploitation. Over the past decades, we have seen our systems strained, schools overcrowded, hospitals overwhelmed, wages suppressed for the working poor. President Trump's new policies in 2025, deploying troops to the border, reinstating Remain in Mexico, and expediting deportations, are necessary, not cruel. Strong borders protect not just our physical security, but our social fabric, our economy, and the rule of law itself. Compassion must be guided by responsibility. Without control, we don't save lives. We encourage dangerous journeys that end in tragedy. To preserve America as a beacon of hope, we must first preserve America as a nation of laws.
America's greatness has always been built by those who sought a second chance. From the Irish fleeing famine, to the Vietnamese escaping war, to today's migrants from Central America, illegal or not, these are people seeking life, liberty, and opportunity. They fill critical labor shortages across agriculture, construction, and hospitality, sectors vital to everyday American life. Without their labor, food prices would soar, construction would stall, and small businesses would struggle to survive. Beyond low-skill sectors, many undocumented immigrants become entrepreneurs, opening businesses that create jobs and strengthen local economies. Illegal immigration, while legally complex, continues to be an economic benefit, not a burden.
First, the economy. Does illegal immigration strengthen America's economic future or weaken it? Julian, you go first.
Illegal immigrants are not a drain. They are an economic engine. Studies show that undocumented immigrants contribute over $11.7 billion annually in state and local taxes. And according to a 2024 report from the Migration Policy Institute, undocumented workers generated over $280 billion in overall economic output last year alone. They also pay billions into Social Security each year, money they will never collect. They fill critical labor shortages across agriculture, construction, and hospitality. Without their labor, food prices would soar, construction would stall, and small businesses would struggle to survive. Mass deportations would cost taxpayers over $400 billion and shrink America's GDP by more than 2%, according to the American Action Forum. Illegal immigration continues to benefit the economy in measurable, significant ways.
Julian highlights the benefits, but he overlooks the hidden costs. Undocumented immigrants impose massive, unfunded burdens on public services, emergency healthcare, public education, and subsidized housing programs. Costs borne by American taxpayers at the local and state levels. While they may contribute some taxes, their net consumption of services outpaces their contributions, especially in economically strained communities. Their competition in low-wage labor markets also depresses earnings for America's most vulnerable workers. especially minority and working-class citizens struggling to rise out of poverty. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, immigration, particularly illegal immigration, has measurable depressive effects on native-born workers without a high school diploma. The economic impact of illegal immigration isn't just about GDP. It's about fairness, opportunity, and dignity for American citizens.
Undocumented immigrants are ineligible for most federal welfare programs, including food stamps and Medicaid. They contribute into systems they can never access, subsidizing benefits for others. The strain on services is a result of underfunded public programs, not immigration itself. Eligibility restrictions exist on paper, but reality tells a different story. Emergency services, schooling, and indirect benefits must still be provided, legally and morally, regardless of eligibility. Those real-world costs are undeniable and growing.
Next, national security. Does illegal immigration make America less safe? Or are those fears exaggerated? Rachel, you go first.
Border security is national security. Since 2021, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has apprehended over 172,000 individuals with existing criminal records attempting to cross illegally. And while many migrants seek honest work, it only takes a fraction of bad actors, gang members, drug traffickers, or potential terrorists to cause irreparable harm. The number of gotaways, those who cross undetected, reached record highs under previous administrations, posing unknown threats to communities across the country. President Trump's 2025 actions, deploying troops to the border, expanding the wall, fast-tracking deportations, are restoring order after years of chaos. A nation cannot ensure internal safety if it cannot control its borders. Strong enforcement isn't cruelty, it's a basic responsibility owed to every American citizen.
Rachel raises serious concerns, but they risk being overstated. The overwhelming majority of illegal immigrants are families, workers, and asylum seekers fleeing violence, not causing it. Government data shows that immigrants, both legal and undocumented, are statistically less likely to commit crimes than native-born citizens. Border militarization diverts massive resources toward a problem that could be better managed through intelligent reform. Expanding legal pathways, modernizing the visa system, investing in counter-cartel intelligence operations, and targeting real threats specifically. We must separate fear from fact. Immigration control must be smart and humane, not driven by exaggerated anxieties that tarnish America's values and waste public resources.
Acknowledging humanitarian motives does not erase hard security realities. Thousands of criminals have already been caught. Without strong borders, you don't just risk isolated bad actors. You create open invitations for cartels and traffickers to exploit the chaos.
No system is perfect, but equating all undocumented immigrants with criminals fosters dangerous, unjust stereotypes. Smart enforcement should target real threats, not punish families and workers who pose no risk to public safety.
Now, culture and society. How does illegal immigration affect America's national identity? Julian, you go first.
America's national identity is not static. It's a story of constant evolution. Each wave of newcomers has challenged, reshaped, and ultimately strengthened what it means to be American. Today's undocumented immigrants bring new energy, ideas, and cultural richness. They revitalize struggling towns, start businesses, and bring diversity to communities that were aging and shrinking. Assimilation happens, not overnight, but over generations. Children of immigrants overwhelmingly learn English, adopt American values, and contribute to civic life, with over 90% of second-generation Latino immigrants now fluent in English, according to Pew Research Center data. America's identity is not endangered by immigration. It is endangered only when fear triumphs over hope.
Julian's version of immigration history is inspiring, but dangerously incomplete. Earlier immigration waves were managed, smaller, and allowed time for assimilation. Today's uncontrolled flows threaten to overwhelm that process entirely. When immigration happens at a massive, uncontrolled rate, it strains the mechanisms of assimilation. Instead of uniting around shared language and civic values, society fragments along ethnic, linguistic, and cultural lines. Without strong borders and enforced immigration laws, we risk creating a country where the bonds that unite us dissolve into division.
Assimilation takes time, but it still happens. Second-generation immigrants overwhelmingly identify as American and contribute fully to society.
Assimilation is not inevitable. It requires orderly systems and manageable numbers. Without them, division, not unity, becomes the norm.
Next, morality versus national interest. Should America's compassion outweigh its need for strict border control, or must order come first? Rachel, you go first.
Compassion without control is not compassion. It is chaos. When a nation prioritizes unchecked emotional responses over structure and sovereignty, it not only endangers itself, but also endangers the very people it claims to help. Illegal immigration often forces families, including young children, into perilous journeys across deserts, rivers, and cartel-controlled territories. Without strong enforcement, we unintentionally encourage these dangerous risks. President Trump's renewed enforcement efforts, strengthening border security, returning asylum seekers to safer third countries, are saving lives, not endangering them. True compassion builds safe, legal, orderly systems that protect both migrants and citizens alike. Abandoning control under the banner of empathy leads not to salvation, but to suffering. America's moral duty is not to open its borders unconditionally, but to preserve the rule of law and design a system that truly protects human dignity, security, and opportunity for everyone.
Order is important, but so is remembering why nations exist in the first place. America's greatness has never come from its walls. It has come from its welcome, from its willingness to offer a second chance to those fleeing oppression, poverty, and hopelessness. Policies that prioritize deterrence over dignity, such as mass deportations, family separations, and indefinite detentions, betray America's foundational ideals. Strong borders and humane policies are not mutually exclusive. It is entirely possible to create a system that both manages entry and respects the humanity of those who arrive. If America turns its back on the desperate, it does not secure its future. It simply forfeits its soul. We must build a border that is not just a wall, but a gateway, a place where security and compassion work together to uphold what truly makes America exceptional.
No nation can preserve compassion without first preserving security. Without secure borders, the very systems that provide refuge collapse under unsustainable strain, harming citizens and migrants alike.
Security is vital, but so is mercy. America must remember that its strength lies not just in its ability to enforce laws, but in its willingness to lead with hope, not fear.
What happens next will define America's future. Should we open new doors or build stronger walls?
The future of American immigration must balance security with opportunity. First, we need to expand and modernize legal immigration pathways, including expanding H-2A agricultural visas, streamlining asylum courts, and modernizing employment-based systems to meet the real demands of our economy and humanitarian values. Second, we must create practical, fair pathways to legal status for long-term undocumented immigrants who contribute to American society, especially those brought here as children, essential workers, and community builders. Third, we must invest in border technology and intelligence rather than solely physical walls to better target real threats while allowing lawful movement of goods and people. Finally, we must shift immigration policy away from fear-driven politics and toward proactive economic and moral leadership, recognizing that immigration is not America's weakness, but its renewal. A smarter, more compassionate immigration system can secure America's borders and its values at the same time.
America's immigration future must begin by rebuilding respect for the rule of law. First, we must secure the borders fully, not just with physical walls, but with technological surveillance, increased patrols, and expedited deportation processes for illegal entrants. Second, we must enforce existing immigration laws without exception, ending catch-and-release practices, limiting asylum fraud, and holding employers accountable for illegal hiring practices. Third, we must shift immigration policy toward a merit-based system, prioritizing skills, education, and language proficiency, similar to successful models used by countries like Canada and Australia. Fourth, we must reassert national sovereignty unapologetically, recognizing that compassion for migrants must never come at the cost of American citizens' safety, wages, or cultural unity. Only by restoring control can America build a legal, fair, and orderly system that protects both its citizens and its legacy as a beacon of opportunity.
Security measures are necessary, but without expanding legal pathways, enforcement alone will only fuel desperation, black markets, and human suffering.
Expanding legal pathways is pointless without first restoring credibility to the system. Laws must be enforced clearly and consistently before reform can succeed.
Two visions for America's future have been laid before you. Now, before you decide, listen carefully. Because in the end, the America you choose to believe in starts with the choice you make right now.
A nation's first duty is to its citizens. Without borders, there is no sovereignty. Without sovereignty, there is no safety, no stability, and no future. Compassion without control invites chaos, not hope. America's strength lies not in how many it welcomes blindly, but in how well it preserves the promise of opportunity through law, order, and shared purpose. Illegal immigration strains communities, erodes wages, and challenges the very idea of a united nation. Strong borders, firm laws, and merit-based immigration aren't acts of cruelty. They are acts of care for America, for its citizens, and for those who wish to join it the right way. A future worth believing in begins with a nation strong enough to endure. Protect the promise. Protect the nation.
America was never meant to be a fortress. It was meant to be a beacon, a place where the tired, the poor, and the hopeful could find a second chance. Illegal immigration presents real challenges, but walls alone won't solve them. Fear alone won't fix them. The solution lies not in closing doors, but in building a better, smarter system that balances security with humanity. Undocumented immigrants already contribute to America's economy, its culture, and its communities. They don't just come seeking charity, they come offering hope, energy, and the belief in something greater. The greatness of America has always come from its willingness to reach out, not retreat inward. The future is not secured by turning away from who we are. It is secured by remembering what we stand for and living up to it.
You've heard two visions for America's future. Now the choice is yours. Who made the stronger case? Cast your vote in the comments below and tell us why. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another debate where ideas clash and the future is decided. This is Alice, signing off from AI versus AI, where artificial intelligence tackles humanity's toughest questions, one debate at a time.